Hey everybody, Troy Jr. here. It's been a couple days since I last updated you via video. I've got a lot of stats and stuff here from the week, so I'm going to be looking down at my notes here. So on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, my dad was not able to do dialysis because they took him off of his sedation meds, and he just got extremely agitated and kept on trying to reach for the breathing tube and pull it out and doing all kinds of stuff like that. And so they finally decided they had to go ahead and knock him out, basically just real short term knock him out on Wednesday, um, because they had to get the ports that go in the neck for the 24-hour CRT dialysis. They had to get those out. Those are the original ports they put in last Monday when he coded and all that, but they've been in like a week, so they had to get them out. And they did that, and they actually got in the permanent port, which goes under the skin right here in your chest, and that can stay in for months, up to a year, and they changed that out as needed. But they immediately started him on the 4-hour dialysis, which is the standard dialysis you hear of, which is the strong one, the strongest one they have, and they felt like his levels were good enough for that. So they did that on Wednesday, and watched him like a hawk while he was doing that, and he did well. His levels stayed normal, and his blood pressure held, and everything went good with that. So he decided his levels were so high they wanted to do it again yesterday. So they did it again for 3.5 hours yesterday, and again held well. And they had him sedated for basically the beginning part of this whole week, throughout this whole thing. With it's a slight sedation. It's not like the big knockout sedation, but it's still sedation. So he's still sedated, laying there, in and out, And to this morning, they decided to completely cut him off of the sedation, and literally an hour after he really started responding and looking around and responding to the commands again about if you understand, blink twice. He'd blink twice, and moving his arms, his legs, his feet, his fingers, all that stuff. And then so we felt great, and we went home for the afternoon and went and got a bunch of stuff done. You can't sit in the hospital for 24 hours a day, at this point. So we spend a lot of time there still, but we decided to take the afternoon and go home. And then by the time my mom got back to the hospital this afternoon, it's like all hell broke loose, and he apparently became extremely agitated and just really just being a real pain in the ass, apparently, for these nurses and people and respiratory people. And they decided they had to sedate him again, so they put him back on the sedation this afternoon. And he was really breathing. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. He was breathing over top of the intubation quite a bit, and coughing, and all that. And it was a good thing, but it's also, they don't want him doing it so much that it just becomes a little out of control with heart rate and blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. So they sedated him again this evening when we got there, and something that won't harm his kidneys, but they talked to us, and his levels are so good. His blood pressure, his heart rate's good, his oxygen level's good. He's on the lowest level of intubation. But this is now day 11 on the intubation, and it's getting to the point now where we're having to make the decision to where we can't keep going in this roller coaster ride up and down. Okay, bring him out of sedation. Okay, he freaks out, obviously, as anybody would, because you got tubes shoved down your throat into your lungs, not just one big breathing tube, but 3 other tubes, feeding tube, and this other stuff they got going on. So we're really pushing for the uh, the trach, which will basically pull the tubes out of his throat and out of his lungs and all that stuff. And they put a little hole right here and they connect it right there. So now, as soon as they get the trach done, it's reversible, first of all, which is great. But they'll get that hooked in so that he can still get the oxygen and then that he needs right now until they bring him out of sedation. You know, and they're just having a problem because he's freaking out, you know, and becoming really agitated when they bring him out, and he's got all this stuff shoved down his throat and his lungs and all that. So they're we think, you know, we're giving him the thumbs up on the trach to do this. You know, I think that's the only way forward. You know, they can't keep sedating him. It's just the bottom line. And you know, he's horrible in sedation anyways. So let's see. You know, they were saying they thought they had fluid in his lungs and all that, but they did a chest X-ray today around 5, and there's no pneumonia. His lungs look great, so that's great. He's got a slight fever, but that's probably, they said, due to all the trauma that he's been through over the past 2 weeks. You know, it keeps going up and then they bump it down, up and down, up and down. You know, just like this whole process has been, up and down, up and down. Got a slight UTI, but they're combating that with antibiotics, and they have been, and his white blood cells are coming down, so that means the infection's getting better. They just switched up antibiotics on him today. They don't want to keep him on the same antibiotic for too long, so they switched that up tonight. Actually, he got his first and second dose. He's not really on anything besides the slight sedation, which is still just keeping him, you know, totally out of it, and not being able to come through and follow commands, just because, you know, as soon as he comes through, he's just, you know, freaking out. He doesn't want to hear anybody's commands or listen to anybody. He just wants that thing out of him. Understandably so. But he's basically just on his normal day-to-day medicines, you know, his blood pressure stuff and his diabetes, insulin. That's about it. But his levels have been holding strong and all that. He's scheduled. They want to give him another CAT scan and an MRI tomorrow at some point, just to make sure, you know, dot all the I's and cross all the T's, all that kind of stuff. But you know, we're at the point now where it's like, you know, it's this roller coaster just going up and down and up and down and up and down, and it's time to, you know, jump off this ride and do something else about this. So that's where we're at now. So my next update probably won't be for, you know, 2 days or so, maybe 3 days, you know, but it's so slow rolling, and like I said, up and down. So there's not really much to say besides what I just said. I just summarized the whole week basically. The nursing staff there has been absolutely phenomenal. You know, they're, even if they're off, they're calling in and checking in on how he's doing, and the staff of doctors there, the team of doctors that's on him, have been phenomenal, especially nephrology, which is the kidney doctor. The team of doctors for the kidneys have really been on top of things, you know, throughout this whole thing. They're kind of leading the whole way because that's the main cause of all this, is his kidneys and diabetes and stuff like that. So they're getting that all under control. You know, that's about it. We appreciate everybody, you know, all the calls and the texts again, and just keep on praying for him. And we feel confident, you know, that he's going to come through this, and we're staying positive, and we're finally getting some rest and doing stuff in daily life and all that too. You know, he's in really good hands there with all the nurses and the doctors that are really taking him under their wing, and you know, saving his life. You know, so that's about it. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I hope we do too. And I will check in with you guys in a couple of days. Thanks again. Keep praying. Thanks.